Hey everyone. In this episode of Raising Wild Twins, I talk with licensed therapist Keona Harris from D&K Counseling Group out in Houston, Texas, as well as 3 teenagers about mental health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it was really important for us to tap in with our youth and get their opinion and perspective. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Raising Wild Twins. That way you stay notified when we upload all the new videos.
Welcome to this episode of Raising Wild Twins. So I'm super excited because this episode we actually have 4 guests. We have a licensed therapist, and we have some youth here that are here to talk about, how they feel, how their mental health is, how they cope, and with everything that's going on, how does that affect them? So without further ado, I'm gonna just let them go ahead and introduce themselves. And so I'll go ahead and start with the young lady in the middle with the yellow shirt. What's your name, your age, and what's something that you want people to know that you do, or that you're like, I know I'm dope in this?
My name is Maya.
Okay. And the other young lady?
My name is Elena. I'm 14 and I play basketball.
Okay. What position do you play, Elena?
I'm a center.
Okay, girl. And the young gentleman over there?
My name is Jaden. I play 14 and I play basketball.
Okay, cool beans. So who's the better player at all y'all? I think I asked y'all that before. Somebody answered that. We all know wasn't true.
They said not them, so by default that means not them.
So it has to be you.
It has to be. Process of elimination.
Right, gotcha. Well, then also I want to go ahead and let you introduce yourself, Miss Lady, Miss Licensed Therapist. Go ahead and introduce yourself, what you do, and all that good stuff.
Sure. I am Keona Harris. I am a licensed professional counselor supervisor here in Houston, Texas. I'm licensed in Texas. And I am one half of the owners of D&K Counseling Group.
Okay.
Represent.
Nice.
And our practice, we're virtual now, but we see clients ages 5 on up. My partner Danielle is not able to be with us this evening, so I'm kind of holding it down for us today.
Okay. Well, again, I just want to thank all of y'all for participating and for coming on today and having this conversation with me. It's a very important conversation. And I don't think that we talk to the youth enough about it. We always talk about what we need to do to relax and de-stress and everything and what's going on, how that affects us. But sometimes we don't get a chance to actually sit down and talk to our teens about that. And so that's why I wanted to do this podcast with you guys. So also, speaking of, we just I feel like this is like our first year of like kind of getting back to normal after COVID, right? So did you guys have to go online with school, or were y'all still going in school just wearing masks, or like how was that transition for you guys? Was that kind of weird for y'all? Jaden, I'll ask you first. You can go ahead and answer.
It was kind of smooth for me because I was on campus last year, but it was kind of weird, like getting around all my friends again and just getting used to being around people again. But other than that, it was pretty smooth.
Okay, that's good. And how did you transition to the going completely online part of it? Like, was that weird for you at first too?
It was kind of weird, just the amount of freedom I had.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. And it just allowed me to work with my time better and
okay.
get things that needed to be done.
Okay, so you learned time management. So that's a good thing, learned out of COVID, right?
That is a positive spin and reframe.
Yeah, because I didn't think about that, but you do have to have time management because like you said, you have all this time and you're like, I'm at home already. So, you're taking breaks, don't get snacks and juice and everything when you're probably not supposed to. Not saying that's what you were doing, but I'm just saying some kids probably were. And what about you, Elena? How was that for you?
Being online, it brought my learning down. I didn't really learn anything.
Really?
Hard to stay up.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it because you felt like, at home you're comfortable, right? So it's just like
I was in my own environment, so I
yeah. Yeah, right. You're like, I'm already here. I might as well go to sleep. No, I get it. I think for me, I've also learned that I'm not really good at online learning because I've gone back to learn or get certified in different things. And I'm like, I need to be in the classroom. So I definitely identify with what you're saying, because I'm like, I need to know that there are teachers right there. And if I have a question, they're going to answer it right then and there, right? Instead of waiting for an email or something like that. Is that kind of what you were kind of experiencing too?
Yeah, I couldn't focus on
Yeah. I'm right there with you, girl. I'm right there. And what about you, Miss Maya?
I also couldn't really focus looking at the computer for like 8 hours a day. It was hard.
Yeah, I bet. And so when y'all got back on campus, it was like, oh, bet. Like y'all got around all your friends again. Did y'all still have to wear masks, or was it just like as soon as y'all went back, it was kind of back to normal?
We had to wear masks for a while.
Oh, okay. But now
Texas kind of recently lifted the mask mandate in schools, not very long ago. So for the majority of the school year, they were wearing masks. I have a question.
Yeah.
We're, biologically designed to be socialized. We are not. We don't thrive in individual pods or cells easily.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys feel about the isolation, being isolated socially and having to connect virtually with your peers for the past 2 years? How did that affect you emotionally, mentally?
I mean, for me, most of my friends are like teammates and just people that I might hoop with. So it was kind of easier for us because we would still get in the gym or like go work out at a park or something. But other than that, I wasn't really seeing anybody that much.
For me, it was harder because I had just moved schools. So I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any contact with people my age.
Yeah.
And when I did have contact with them, it was just awkward. It's like I didn't know how to talk to people.
Yeah. That's real.
Some social skills. What about you, Maya?
Being virtual online instead of
And so just as a parent tip, being a parent of teenagers having come through that isolation, it's typical and it's common that teenagers like to stay in their room. They kind of go into their own little shell and things, but knowing your team is not just normal team behavior, that they stay isolated all day, every day.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to go pull them out of what they've created, this comfort zone.
Yeah.
I heard someone say they didn't know how to interact with people and peers their age, because that's a skill that requires muscle. You have to keep, practicing. This is that age and stage of life where learning these skills of how to relate to people and interact with people is important. And so they lost that. They didn't just lose it academically, they lost it socially too. So we have to provide space and opportunity for our teams to get back involved and engaged with each other.
Yeah, that's a real valid point, how you're saying like that it's not just academically, it was socially as well. Because it's like, I couldn't even imagine being a teenager in that time. You know what I'm saying? Like being so disconnected and not having, because at that age, like, I mean, y'all know, right? Your friends are everything. Like your friends, like, you know what I'm saying? So I get it 100%. So with everything now you're back in school, right? And with everything you got going on, there's school, what grade are you guys in? I don't know if I asked you that in the beginning. Nobody's graduating high school yet? No? Sophomores, juniors,
we're going to be
freshmen, going to be.
I'm going in the 9th.
I'm going to the 10th.
Okay. But still, right? You still got to do all your work to move on to the next grade, correct? So with that being said, and all of you play basketball, I played sports growing up. So, and not just with the school, but I played like outside sports, competitively. And I know that could be a lot sometimes, you know what I mean? It's just like you got these 5 a.m.s over here, then you got evening practice, then you still got to be up on your schoolwork. So does that ever get overwhelming for you guys at any time?
I mean, for me, being on the travel team and school ball, them kind of overlapping, it was stressful at times because I would have to, like a couple weeks ago, I went to Indiana and I had to turn around and come to a workout the next day, and it was just
And so when you feel like that sometimes, like, is there anything that you do to like, okay, I just need a break? Like, do you need to just take a moment? Do you like to draw, or like, is there any, how do you cope with that?
I mean, for me, basketball is that.
Okay.
It's like, if I do get stressed out, it's just more open. It's just makes everything better for me.
Okay, cool. And Elena, what about you? Do you ever feel like you get overwhelmed with everything that you got going on?
Yeah, in the beginning, but then when I get used to the schedule, I get in the routine of doing it every day, and I get so used to it that it's just not stressful anymore.
Okay, well that's good. So that you adjust. You adjust well to your schedule. Then I would say, because sometimes I know for me it's like I try to, and I'm like, you know what, I just need to take a moment, and that's it. And what about you, Maya?
I learned how to manage my time through COVID, so it's not really hard.
Can I say that a little louder?
I learned how to manage my time through COVID, so it's not really that hard now.
Oh, okay. Look at you, Miss Time Management. And Miss Harris, did you have anything to add?
I'm glad to hear the teenagers' responses, because a lot of times I get a lot of parents asking me about what they can do for their kids, how they can help support their kids and such. And just to hear their responses is what I usually tell parents. Routine, kids, adolescents, babies, children need consistency, routine. They need, physical exercise, the endorphins, help them manage stress. So a lot of times we don't have access to other tools. We got to use what's inherently ours. We can always work out, being engaged in some physical activity, routine and consistency. That's something the parents can provide, that structure, that for that predictability to help them manage and regulate their stress.
Okay.
Thank you for confirming what I felt was already the case.
Yeah. Good. That's good stuff. And since I got these two little ones, I definitely will incorporate that into our routine. You okay? Incorporate that into our routine, and hopefully create a space where they feel safe and not too overwhelmed and not too stressed out. So this is good stuff. I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I'm learning too. And I'm glad that you guys are able to voice your opinions, because like I said, a lot of times we're just like, come on, let's go. Let's go. We got to be here. We got to be there. And don't really sit there and take the time to see how y'all are really feeling about everything. So is it nice to kind of like talk about it a little bit, or, voice your opinions sometimes? Yeah.
Sometimes.
More like all the time, Mom.
I have another question.
Yeah, no problem.
So just as a mental health professional, I get overwhelmed with the constant news cycle of doom and gloom, right? We had a mass shooting yesterday with the elementary school kids in Uvalde, Texas. Just last week, there was in Buffalo, New York, the mass shooting in the grocery store. The next day after that was a mass shooting at a church in Southern California. Weeks before then, there was a young lady at Southern University who committed suicide. So all of these things just over and over again, and having so much access to information. Like, this is the generation that they can't turn it off. This is what they were born into. This is all that they know. So it's overwhelming for me. So as an adult and as someone who has to walk people through processing over and over again and engaging and coping with these things, when you don't have the support of a therapist, how is it affecting you guys?
Hi.
I mean,
Or is it affecting you? Maybe that's the question. Is it affecting you?
Does it affect you when you see this on the news?
I mean, I know that it might, but like, it hasn't hit me yet, because I'm not thinking about how like it could possibly be me, and like I'm thinking about how, that's so far away, it's not gonna happen to me. And then, but like at the same time, I understand that it can happen to anybody at any time. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. And what about you, Miss Elena?
I see it every day on my news feeds on Instagram. It pops up everywhere. I know that it's there, but I still seem to like not know that it could happen to me anytime.
Yeah.
That it could be me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. I just yeah.
So once again, I am so glad to be talking to teenagers in real time, because this exemplifies teenagers, for the most part, live in their own little bubble.
Yeah.
Right? They're very egocentric. That's not a bad word. That's the reality. They don't really think and process things outside of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they're the center of their world, and everything else, we're just kind of pawns or players in their world, mm-hmm. which is self-preservation. So imagine if, for the kid who has maladaptive coping skills, mm-hmm. they will absorb all this doom and gloom and all this negativity all day, every day, and that increases anxiety. That's where we get anxiety, that's where we get depression, and things. So I'm glad to hear,
yeah,
3 kids here are like, hey, it don't really touch me, because they're dealing with the here and now and the present, and not worried or anxious about the future, and not anxious and depressed about the past. So yeah. This is an example of what healthy coping skills look like. Whatever they do to stay right there in that mind frame is working for them. Yeah. Now, if your child is one that is absorbed with the doom and gloom, and that is over anxious about the news cycle events and all these things that we just described, mm-hmm. the best thing that you can do to help them cope is to bring them center to the here and now.
Okay.
The fact that these teenagers are egocentric and kind of think of themselves first is normal. It is normal, healthy child development. They're supposed to be right there in that stage of life.
Right, right.
Help them regulate and bring them to normalcy for their development, wherever they are in their phase of development. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that example, you guys.
Yeah. And again, this is really great. I know you guys don't have to be, so stiff. It's okay.
Feed them afterwards. Don't think I got them held hostage. I had permission from their parents.
Right. But no, I really do appreciate you guys coming and talking with us about this, because to me, it's really important. I love talking to our youth. I love, just seeing where y'all are at. You know what I mean? I guess I'm kind of far removed. I'm auntie. So, but, I still like to know like how things are going, and if you guys are okay and all that good stuff, and so thank you so much for opening up to us. I know this was a little you guys are a little nervous, but it's okay, because there's a lot of other kids out there that are going through the same thing. They probably have a lot on their plate. Some are about to graduate and start their life in the real world. You know what I mean? And so that's a whole nother conversation or whatnot. And so with you guys just being in school and have all these different extracurriculars going on, and you guys seem got a good heads on your shoulder and everything. So I'm just really proud of you guys too. And hopefully you guys just stay who you are, stay true to you, right? Never compromise for anybody too. That's what I tell my nieces and my nephews. And, is there any last things that you guys want to say? Any last remarks or shout outs? No.
I did. There was one question that my friends, wanted me to ask. Okay. Knowing that I'm a therapist. Maya obviously is my daughter. I don't know if that was stated in our conversation. Jay's mother also is. She's in education, in education field, so she has a unique perspective and probably impacts her parenting based on what she sees in her job. And Elena's mother as well is in the mental health or helping profession, and so her experience, her parenting is probably influenced by her mother's work, being a social worker of sorts. Yeah. Right? So, what is it like having a parent that is employed in the industry of mental health?
That's a good one.
How does my job impact how I parent you, or how you receive parenting from me? Maya, I'll let you go first. Like, give me one pro and one con. What am I doing right? For your perspective, what am I doing right? What can I do better?
One pro is
Taking a whole lot of time with this friend.
One pro is
Start with cons.
one con is like I don't know how to explain it. Like she'll keep the conversation going. Like whenever she thinks of something new about the topic.
Okay.
The lecture. I'm a lecturer.
Okay.
Okay. Now tell me something good. What do I get right with you with it?
One pro is I can like see the world from different perspectives. Because that's one thing that she has different perspectives.
Okay, nice. And so just to say, because you're a little low, so you said that you're able to see the world through in a different perspective. Is that what you said? Okay. All right, cool. That's a good one.
Oh, Jay, go first. Okay. Jay, how does your mother and your dad actually, because both of your parents are in education, how is their parenting style affected by their work?
I mean, with them being at my school, I'm with them all day, every day, and they can like see what I'm like and the interactions I have on a day-to-day basis. And it just like, it helps them have a better knowing of what maybe kind of what my mental state is. So
Is that a pro or a con?
it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. What do you think they can get better or do better with? You won't get in trouble.
You get a pass.
You can't think of anything.
But
But that's a good thing too.
I don't know.
That means they're great parents. That means
They're great parents.
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, no shade to the
No shade. No shade.
that's not what I
What about you, Elena?
Pro is
Let the record reflect Elena's mother is here in the room. But she will not get in trouble.
You get a pass, Elena.
This is a learning opportunity for growth because we all want to be the best parents we could be, right?
my pro is when I come with my mom, I get to see what the other kids go through. So I can see all the things that I'm grateful for and all the things that she has given to provide for me. And a con is that it's very time consuming. Like it takes up her time. Like she tries to be there for me, but it still takes up a lot of her time. Like we're trying to manage her job and just it being me and her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
You could have said that. Maya said, I should have said that. I will share pros and cons of being a parent
Yeah.
and a mental health advocate and a therapist. One, you see the doom and gloom so often, and so it's hard sometimes to separate that. Like,
Yeah.
I talk for a living. Not only do I talk for a living, but I'm talking people through their very darkest and worst points of life.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm done with them, I have to remember always to save just a little bit for Maya.
Yeah.
Save a little bit for myself. I have to save some for me, but save some for Maya. And sometimes, like after I just want to I don't want to talk no more. I'm all talked and touched out.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't, sometimes teenagers want to play when they want to play and not when they're not. So being available to her emotionally, mentally, physically, and all of those things, I think I can do better with working on it, but also it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I recognize the privilege that I have of being a business owner and saying, quitting a job to say, I want to put my child first,
Mm-hmm.
Moving my schedule around her needs,
Right.
things like that. Not everyone has that
Mm-hmm.
space or opportunity to do, but I've been able to do that.
Yeah.
Somewhat successfully sometimes, we'll see.
No, that's awesome. That's great. I mean, because I always wonder, like, sometimes when you meet people and because I studied psychology in college. So when I used to say like, oh, I'm a psychology major, or I graduated my, with psychology degree, and people are always like, oh, so are you like, trying to figure me out and all this stuff. So I always wonder, like, as a parent, or as a child of a parent that does it, like, do they feel that way too? Like, I just want to be left alone. Like, she's always trying to figure me out, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Probably, but also when anybody says that to me, it's never like I want to pick your brain. I want to figure you out. I tell people, or remind people, good or bad, I study human behavior for a living. This is a hobby for me. I've been doing this 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So it comes so naturally. Sometimes you don't, it's
right.
just personality now.
Yeah.
So I do have to be mindful of, like, when I see my things that are just typical, textbook case stuff.
Yeah.
To still let her go through it. Right. Even though I know what the outcome is, because, oh, girl, one, I've been a teenage girl before. And then two, like, I just know human behavior. I study human behavior. So that's just the patterns and cycles of it. So no, I'm not ever always wanting to try to pick nobody's brain. I don't live there. in other people's head. I don't want to. Let me out.
Gotcha. And guys, again, thank you so much. So one question that I do have, with your parents being like in education, and in the mental health field, do you find it easy to talk to them? Like, do you find like that line of communication is very open, or do you find yourself like, I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I talk to my mom about everything.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. And you, Jaden?
Yeah, I talk to her about. I talk to her. It's. I mean, I don't really talk to like anybody, but when there's something that needs to be talked about, I talk to her.
Okay. And Miss Maya in the back? You have to speak up a little louder because I can barely hear you.
Most things, yeah, but sometimes no, because I feel like she's just gonna go on and on.
Gotcha.
So parents who are listening, who are watching, when it comes to your teenager, there sometimes you want to be mom, not mom and friend, or mom and therapist. It's very hard to be all these different roles when your primary role is just be mom. So it is not a bad thing to bring in the village. It takes a village to support and raise a child. Mm-hmm. Maya has a village of people around her that she can call and talk to, who she feels more comfortable with talking to. And I am grateful that I can, that I have opened up that space for cousins, godmoms, aunties, friends, moms, whoever Maya feels comfortable talking with. And, your teenager may not want to, have that relationship with you, but provide opportunity and space for them to have that relationship with someone trusted enough that if they're dealing with something heavy, that they feel safe, they have a safe place to land, even if it's not specifically you.
That's good stuff. Thank you. So with that being said, y'all, I'm not going to keep y'all too long. I know y'all still sitting there like, we still sitting here talking about this? No. But I really, honestly and truly, I really do appreciate you guys' time. I appreciate you guys wanting to do this and participating. And again, I know I asked this earlier, but did you guys want us to say anything or any last remarks about this situation, or the importance of mental health awareness with teenagers or with youth? Like, do you think that's an important thing to talk about?
Yeah, I feel like you should talk about it with anyone you can, or anyone you feel heard by.
Yeah. That's good. That's really good, Elena. I feel the same way. Maya, anything you want to say or add? Oh, fair enough. And young man, you have anything you need to add or would like to?
I think I got everything though.
All right. Well, appreciate it. And Miss Keona Harris, did you have any last remarks for parents that may be listening that have teenagers and maybe kind of struggling in this time where, you know, we're in unprecedented times, you know, with not only getting back to normal after COVID, but, you know, it seems to be like more mass shootings going on, you know, especially centered around children and stuff like that. So I guess one of my last questions would be is how would you share or tips or anything on how to talk to your teenager about it, or tips of coping with everything that's going on?
A lot of what we talked about with the teenagers through this interview is very helpful. But just parent to parent, give yourself some grace. No one in history has ever gone through what we are going through right now. When you say unprecedented, that is the word of the day. Like, yeah. Everyone is experiencing this together and at the same time. So no one has the answer or the blueprint.
Right.
We are experiencing this all together. So lean into each other. Find your tribe. You have to, you know, in order to be here for your children, you have to be here first. So take care of yourself so that you can take care of these babies. Seek support, whether it's with a therapist, trusted friend, your girlfriend's group, your husband or wife, your spouse or partner. Find your tribe, your safe place to land as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Harris. And then also go ahead and shout out your business and your IG social media handles and all that good stuff. How can we contact you if we need those services out in Houston, Texas, or are you guys provided online too? So if you're not in Texas, how, you know, does that work?
No, we are only licensed in Texas, so we can only service and provide services in Texas at this time.
Gotcha.
Right now we are virtual. However, we are transitioning back. Everything's a transition period. We're transitioning back into the office space as well.
Okay.
DK Counseling Houston. www.D like dog, K like kite, counselinghouston.com. That's our website. Our Facebook is D&K Counseling Group PLLC. And our Instagram is DK Counseling Houston. DK Counseling Houston.
All right.
But if you go on the website, I'm sure, okay, I'll see if we can like drop some links and all that stuff when you do your podcast. And I'll get it right.
Of course.
Listen.
No problem. I got you. So again, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to Raising Noir Twins. This has really been a really great episode. I appreciate all the guests that we had on here tonight, this evening. As she mentioned, they're out in Houston, Texas. Go ahead, Texas. I'll see you at the end. And yeah, and y'all all know what to do. Go ahead and like, share, and follow Raising Noir Twins on Spotify, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And did I say Facebook already? Y'all know what to do. So anywho, like I said, it's been a really great episode, and y'all have a beautiful night, beautiful people. Thanks, y'all. Peace.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye.